tertulia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is May 29, 2011. It's a Sunday. The entry is 1944, 4 pages, 37 ologies, and 10 maxima. The topic is parapsychic bonus. The subfield is crescendology. For the tertulians who have been complaining about parapsychic topics, I would like to remind you that this one deals mostly with this. Definitionology. The parapsychic bonus is the bonus, premium, prize, advantage, concession, supplement, or extra dividend on extraphysical basis given by the interassistential multidimensional mechanism to the mini-cog self-aware consciousness that deserves it as a result of his successful interassistential works. The paratechnical thocenity, the evolutionary added value, the personal correctness, the extra stimulus, the onus of the parapsychic bonus as being the responsibility deriving from the interassistential retribution, the onus of the bonus, the added parapsychic value, the positive balance of the personal evolutionary file, the extraordinary and unforeseen parapsychic dividends, the prize given to the cosmoethic performance of self-parapsychism, the inexistence of undue parapsychic bonuses, the parapsychic extrapolationism as a welcome bonus to a new evolutionary stage. In taxology, there are 10 categories of parapsychic bonus, the ones that are the most commonly found deriving from the self-efforts of the lucid intra-physical consciousness. We also have here 8 kinds of bonus, and in referentiology we would like to point out the extra stimulus, penta-extra, extrapolationism, extra existential program, and evolutionary know-how. Now, emphatic sentence, the lucid intraphysical consciousnesses dedicated to the satisfactory accomplishment of the interassistential existential program on paraperceptive basis are always entitled to be given a parapsychic bonus. Have you, reader, ever been given any type of parapsychic bonus? Of which category? I would like to tell you that this 4-page entry has 4 little things to be fixed. Complementary remuneration in etymology doesn't have to be in italic. In foreignismology, evolutionary should follow. Evolutionarium should follow tertuliarium, so they will always end alike. And there is another little matter of punctuation. And here also another little spelling mistake. I would also like to say that there are 9 long words and 4 acronyms that are being used in this entry. So it's just a summary of the entry. Now, question. I would like to know about the food supplement, like the C vitamins and other pills, in order to complement the daily diet. Is it good to increase our body weight and our muscle mass? Do you think it is recommended? And what do you think about the dietary supplements that people use in order to enhance their performance when working out? What I see is that all excess is negative, but I am totally favorable to the food supplements. I take the Ultra Preventive Third. This is an American product, a very good one. I have been taking it for 2 or 3 decades. I do that because in the US I was able to see that the doctors used to recommend to prescribe that, because I used to follow some doctors friend of mine, but there are some that are not lucid, so we have to take care. So if the person doesn't say anything, we have to be aware of it. But those who take hormones all the time, we should be aware of that, because it's negative. It's a matter of weightlifting, it's a matter of muscle building, fitness, and so on. So we have to take care with that. I am in favor of walking and in the treadmill, because it's much better and it shows all the data to the person. Together to the treadmill, there should be also a scale to help the person out. Since I started doing the vibrational state, there have been some signages that I don't know yet. For personal issues, I haven't been doing the VS for several days, but the signage is still there. Once it is developed, it will never vanish. If the person fixes and uses that signs, it will never vanish. Of course that in the next life the person will have to adapt, but in this life it will follow with the person till the end of his life. Now, next one. Now, concerning your science, could we say that there are many things in common between theosophy and conscientiology? Of course that there are some things, but theosophy is very silly. There are many things that Blavatsky came up with that aren't correct. Of course, when they studied the mental body and many things that are in agreement with what we do here, there are no doubts, but we cannot just mix both things because they are not the same. Blavatsky committed a mistake because she prohibited the development of perceptions. She didn't want to create problems regarding that. I didn't know what was her interest, because she participated in materialization sessions. And one more thing, she wasn't silly. She read a lot. She copied many Orientalism books. She was very smart, very cultivated, and helped a lot of people, but she had many silly stuff. Why did she prohibit that? Just to be different from the Spiritism. She knew all about that. Another one, the parapsychic bonuses used to happen right after the interassistential action performed by the intraphysical consciousness, or there could be a gap or a delay between the action and the bonus received. Well, you've just forgotten one thing. There is an accumulation of merits. The person will accumulate and it will be logged to a point, to an extent that the person is more aware and apt, able to receive it. The person is more seasoned. The person is really prepared to be given such a thing. So there is an accumulation of performances. Now, how can we discern a bonus received from the Maximanism in a very good evolutionary moment? What you have to see is what is good and what's not. You have to read this entry in depth, see what's in taxology and in typology. For example, I am talking about paravolunteering, megaphorization, the phase, post-assistance, volitation, everything is here. So the person has to think all about that, and it will enable the person to think better about that. See what you have. If the person writes down all the experiences, the person will be able to see what happens, what's new every week, and that's important because it will be logged and the person will be able to ascertain what's used and what's not. But the fact that the helpers and the Maximanism characters help us out, that's a fact, because it's in their best interest. The better you are, the better will your actions be for the whole assistance. Now in definitionology, the word given, should it be in plural or in singular form? In fact, it's an issue of the Portuguese language. No, because there is a series here. So yes, in the Portuguese language it should be in the plural because there is a series of conditions here. Thank you very much. Who's saying something here is Chris. Every tertulia, she sends in a remark. I saw the tertulia where you said that you have been Monge's father and transmitter's twin. If you had been with them, we wouldn't have conscientiology and the intermissivists wouldn't be here. No, not at all. Sometimes one of them could be here replacing me and you would profit much more than you would with me. And I think that you're wrong. It would be much better, I think, because compared to them, I'm very weak. Now, in parapsychology, third and fourth line, the extraordinary and unforeseen dividends. Yes, they are a little bit like the ones in taxology. You just have to think about it. Take a look at the encyclopedia. All the subfields, it's written parapsychology, para-perceptiology, para something, and you will understand what it's all about. Most of them are para-perceptiology or self-para-perceptiology. Take a look at this one that you understand better. Could you talk a bit about the dividends? Yes, for example, the process we will reach an extent to where there will be this parapsychic epaulette, the blood type, the universal donator blood type, and so on and so forth. In addition, what about the details of the macrosoma? I am not dealing with this subject in depth, for example, in this entry. For example, paramicrochip. It's a universe. What could come from that? So we have to check that out. So the things are much broader than we think. But I would like to say that the Council of the 500, the pure democracy here in Foz, there will be this event within a week, next Sunday, on the 5th of June at 3 p.m. in Discernimentum, the agenda, the housing of volunteers in conscientiological campi in Foz do Iguaçu. They will decide on the general guidelines, the roads planning of the municipality, because there will be a road passing by, commission on the management of the Council of the 500, the election of new 4 councillors, the zoning plan for the Cognopolis neighborhood, and so on and so forth. So we have to participate in this to see where we're going to. Here there's an illustration here, very beautiful. The picture will come soon. Now, talking about parapsychic bonus, I would like to remind you that it's very important for us to study parapsychism is mental soma. The psychosoma is important to understand, take into consideration, to get rid of it. I mean, to diminish its influence in our life. But now I would like to show you 2 topics that have to do with the dictionary I've been writing. Osmozoology. You know what osmosis is, right? It's to take in, to perceive somebody's influence, to suck up the other. It could be considered as an assimilation, a sympathetic assimilation. So osmozoology, the holothoscenes of the library or of the bookstore, when the institutions are well kept, favor the potentiation of mental soma and its hyperacuity for the consciousnesses that are ready for that, not only for being in that specific environment and reflecting without opening a book or reading a book. The person can take in new ideas and ideas recycling. It's a kind of mental somatic osmosis from the holothoscene of the written works. Do you understand what I mean? So this is the mental somatic osmosis that predisposes the person to that. So that's why it's important. In epigraphy, in holocycle, holotheca, epigraphy already allows that. When I go there, I can feel it. I feel the strength of the ideas. At home, when I used to receive people, they used to go there, my library. Sometimes I had to serve them a tea or a coffee or cold water or something, because of course they had an impact. And you know that there is that art impact when you go to the Gallery Uffizi in Florence. The person gets there and there is this impact. Sometimes the person faints, the psychiatrist has to come in and so on. This is the Stendhal syndrome. But now, in this case, it's like the Stendhal syndrome, but much bigger, because it's mental somatic. Because it comes from the reasoning. The other one is more like coming from the instinct, while this one derives from the mental soma. But now, in the same line, the logicology, the logic way, you know, this one that starts from near my house to the holocycle door, it was built with a specific cover, 150 meters, with a plant on both sides as fences, and the sculptures of the geniuses of mankind, in order to give to those who are going down the way the settlement of the adequate reasoning and the metasomatic reflection, to define better what they are, what they will do there in such cultural holothoscenes. That is holotheca and holocycle. It was done on purpose, logic's way. I gave this name, but it could also be called the rationality path, which is able to awaken the new ideas, the new leading edge relative truths in the visiting person as soon as he walks down the way. And something else that I have always said is that the best would be to go all the way down, breathing in and out, inhaling, exhaling, as I show you here, because it will increase the oxygenation in the brain and will enhance the inspirations the person may have. So this is one of the techniques, but it has worked out. Sometimes there is a person who comes here for the first time and the person says, well, I just felt this and that when I just took that way, because it's just like a green tunnel. It's nothing more than that, and they feel something. But we are able to see all this due to the helpers that work with us. You must have already noticed one thing. If you haven't, I will show you. I will talk about that here. On Thursday, when we were here setting up the field for the megaphorization, many people say, I started feeling it when I sat there. It's the same thing. The same thing happens in the logic's way. When the person comes in, it's just like as if the person were in a car washing process. The helpers will take out the most serious intruders and so on and so forth. Of course, they will do that with all chivalry possible. And many people say, I started feeling it when I sat there. Have you ever noticed the number of people who said that? But there are many repercussions, such as the ones that, for example, when we started offering ECP2, the person had a kind of problem, for example. The person had already undergone ECP1, the most difficult one. And when the person signed up for the course, they felt something different, and they said, yes, everything changed, not when I arrived, rather when I signed up for the course. So it's the pre-assistance we talk about. It's very important. Now, the logic's way, Guido, the professor we have here, I call him as the chased person because everybody's looking for him to work with the environment here. So he's dealing also with the green fences we have in the logic way, because here there is much wind, but it creates a kind of green wall, and it's very good. So he's been working on that, and we're going to reinforce that with other trays, and let's see how it's going to be like with the course of time. But if you have anything else, please just talk to them. He's a specialist in the subject. He knows it all. Now on page 38, typology, item 8, the verbonological bonus, the bonus coming from the leading edge relative truth. It's the leading edge relative truth captured from the intensification of the paracerebral connections when writing the mega consciential gestation. It happens when the person dedicates himself to the metasomatic process, like the book the person has been writing. If the person connects and is really within that work, the person will create this positive conceptacle, which will work as a receptive womb, and it will help the person to receive the new idea, the new leading edge relative truth. So this is the bonus that comes from this leading edge truth. But see, João, when you will enhance your mental somatic process, you will intensify the diameter of the ideal duct, the ideal pipe you have in connection with the helpers. It's as if your intensification increased by 10 points. The matter here is to predispose, to be prone to that, to create this conceptacle, this adequate holothosene to welcome new ideas. You see?
Waldo, on parapsychology, could you explain the dividends? Well, these are those one does not expect to receive. For example, you want to write something small, and all of a sudden everything amplifies in your mind. You don't even perceive that, and you don't even give credit to the helpers. But they are the ones who have passed the idea. I have had experience like that, especially in the 19th century, when I used to pass on the ideas and people were so happy and they couldn't perceive that we were there trying to help, trying to increase their perceptions, no matter where it comes from. The important is for us to do things, and it happens extraphysically a lot. And I saw here about there is a mixture of conquest with bonus, so you conquer the bonus, is that? Yes. When you conquest, you achieve a victory, an objective. You are like a doer. You surpass your own your own level. Everything is the same. Achievement, feat, conquest, victory, triumph, everything works. And in the case of the extraphysical clinic, Waldo, this is the most extreme. You can have a dozen of mango because you deserve. Everything else is only a mango one at a time. But this one, even if you have some digestive problems, there is an acceleration of your digestion, no matter. There's no problem. Well, is there a confusion between the conquest and the bonus? Well, the conquest allows people to receive the bonus. What comes first is the conquest, is the fact, the achievement, the consecution. I avoid execution because it means killing people also. That's why I use consecution. Be my guest. You can even ask other questions with such a beautiful shirt you bought in São Paulo in your last trip. Professor Waldo, in pathology, could you elaborate on the last item, please? The onus of the bonus being responsible for the interassistential interaction. Yeah, when you receive something extra and you think it's everything all right, you feel great, it's not like that. You must give back. Like those apports, the things you receive. You don't receive a thing just to keep it to yourself. Nobody here has received a single thing to keep it to yourself. It's everything for the others. It's all in your hands. So don't you think you are the owner of these things. You are a bearer. You are a temporary bearer of these things. That's how we must think. But you're not the owner, the proprietary of these things. If you think this way, everything becomes clear. And don't try to push, because when you go, you decimate. When you die, you can't take anything with you. Sometimes you can have your consciousness even without any essence. That's even worse. That's why we call essentiology. It depends on what you say, but there is also essentiology in the dictionary I've been talking about. Professor, you talked about the inspiration as you worked this way when you were a helper, and you also said you gave an energetic bath to people. What's the best moment to provide an extraphysical bath? Shower, I mean. Well, there is a person. If a single word could enter one's mind, everything could be better. For example, that drop that's missing, the dot of the letter I that's missing, But you see people totally blocked. They're like a log, difficult to reach. So what do? You involve the environment, you improve where the person goes, try to channel everything he or she likes for them to be predisposed to these things, and try to improve their holocene, getting thinner, slimmer, until they come to a moment where you get the Gordian knot, and you pass the exothocene. That's how the helpers do. If one predisposes, one can receive a lot more extraphysical inspiration. That's how the interassistance goes deeper. So Valdo, predisposition is like a cut, a shortcut. Yes, it's very important. That's why I tell people, stop being having prejudice. If you have your fixed ideas, you are lost. Stuck ideas. There's no room to enter new things, new constructs, new weapons. There is no room. How can these ideas, these new ideas enter in the lucidity of the person? There's no way. There are people that have no brain, right? They have granite, they have marble, they don't have neurons. You see that the brain is soft, right? It's not hard. What is hard is our bones, you see? Our head bones. But inside it's not hard. Except those people who have marble in their heads, inside the head. That's what we call a priori osmosis. And we had to go against it. And can the helper give the inspiration and the energetic shower? Which is the best and what is the best moment? No, the energetic shower comes always first for them to access the person. Helpers know what they're doing. After working with 1,000 of people, they know how it works. I've been 214 years conscious about that. It was not one day, a week, not only a month. That's why I was able to understand and see. And I started thinking, wow, it's going to be a work. These Serenissimus people must have had a lot of work. And one of my friends said, oh, there are planets that are even worse. So you're great, people. There are even worse things out there. So you're partially right, okay? I am a Penta practitioner for 9 months. I'm going to travel and be in a hotel for 4 months. I have asked another Penta practitioner about this, and he said he has already practiced Penta in the bathroom of the hotel. What do you think? Well, you should practice Penta, come rain or come shine, under the bridge, wherever. But you should listen to your helper to see what to do. Well, if you are, let's say, a professional traveler, you have to travel a lot, you should not start Penta now. After you settle down, you start Penta. But when we do one or another trip, it's part of our lives. So you should practice Penta during this period. In Dephnology, page 63, could you amplify the meaning of well successful? Oh no, 36, it's not 63. So let's see where it is. Interassistentiality. Oh, they are the successful interassistential works. If you are making assistance, it means you are successful. So you prepare yourself to receive the bonus. The meritocracy works within the evolutionary law. The helpers, the Serenissimus, evolutionologists are very conscious about that. Other question. I would like to know about psychometry. Could you indicate a book on that? Is projectology related to that? Well, in some part. You can also look for the word psychometry. in the internet, and there is this book called The Soul of Things. And in Holoteca you can find a lot of books on that subject. The most classic book is The Soul of Things. Question. I would like to understand the process of names. I'm called Olímpio. I must have had another name. And when I die, which is going to be my name during the intermission? Well, it's going to be Olímpio because it was the last life you had. And how about the Sereníssimos? Is this the same, the name of the last lives? Well, it depends. I find some nicknames for them. I know some previous lives are one on another, but I'm not supposed to talk about that. So I find a nickname, just like I call Arlindo, Arlindario. His name is Arlindo, but I call Arlindario because he's like a dictionary, so it could be Arlindari. The Brad psychic person can become tax psychic. What one should do? Well, this is evolution. Every Brad psychic is going to be tax psychic someday. It's evolution. So when you are Brad, you must have efforts. Pay efforts to become tax psychic. And those who are tax psychic and are impatient, they should become norm psychic. In typology, the information bonus, could you elaborate on that, please?
Bônus informativo. A para-informação
elucidativa de auto-questionamento vigente recebida durante a intensificação da paratelepatia nas atividades intelectuais amparadas. In the intellectual activities being helped. I'm talking about para-telepathy. This para-information is when someone is looking for something, you are researching something, and you know that. You start questioning. The helper comes and passes some information to you. It hands in the information. That's why I was talking to João before. You see? One should make an idea pipeline, you know, like a duct, coming from one paracerebral para-brain to another para-brain. That's the way. That's the information bonus. The one that clarifies the ideas. What we call serendipity in science, it happens due to this kind of inspiration. Could you elaborate on technology, page 37? First line. The assistential paratechnic of the bonification of the para-volunteering. Well, the para-volunteering is the very volunteering of the extraphysical dimension that works with us. And you here in the intraphysical dimension, when you project yourself, you are also volunteer there, you know, so it's all related. So this is the paratechnic of the parabonuses. When you start helping others, listening to your helpers that have already talked to the assisted people, you have already received some bonuses. So Martha, please help this his friend of ours, okay? You know him, it's Wilfredo. Well, so you see what we're talking about, okay? Professor, page 36, parapsychology. Third line.
Você pode
bottom
falar
up.
pouco dessa premiação
Could you talk
A
about
premiação
this
do desempenho
premium
cosmoético do alto
of
parapsiquismo.
the
O caso é o
cosmoethical
seguinte, se a pessoa,
behavior
por exemplo, ela trabalha com a paraperceptibilidade
performance?
dela,
Well,
ajudando os
you,
outros, e
when
ela
one
obtém
starts working with
resultados
one's
positivos, quer dizer,
paraperceptuality
ela sai
and
triunfante daquele
receives
processo, isso
positive
inevitavelmente dá a ela uma
results,
premiação. Qual é a
it
premiação? Primeiro,
gives
vai
the person
melhorar
a premium,
o auto
gives the
pensando
person
dela.
Então é a autopremiação,
bonuses.
essa melhorar o
Não, não é
autopensão.
auto,
So
é
it's
uma
the
autopremiação se você
self-premiation,
melhorar o
self-bonus.
a rigor, lá no fundo,
No,
sim.
no,
Sim.
Mas
more
a
or less,
premiação
but
não é
the
dada
premium
assim.
is not
São
given
mais os
like that.
amparadores,
The helpers
evoluciólogos.
give you, the
É o processo da
evolutionary
equipe do Maximanismo
workers
existencial. Olha aqui que
and
eu
the
falo, olha aqui, ó.
assistential
O bônus para a
mechanism
bonificação,
give this to you, okay?
atribuídos pelo mecanismo interassistencial
They are
multidimensional.
given by the
Então é a
multidimensional
pessoa que é
assistential mechanism.
mini-peça.
You are
Eu
a
quase
mini
não falo
cog.
aqui em mini-peça, mas tudo
I
isso aqui é
have
sobre
barely
mini-peça
talked
de
about
propósito,
mini cog
para chamar a
here,
atenção.
but it's all related to this.
Parabéns pelo verbete, professor.
Congratulations for the entry, Professor. Very good.
Vem cá, você não é a Tânia, que é a nave capitânia?
Aren't you
Só
Tanya?
Pois
O senhor
é,
garante?
Você
Eu não
recebe
Capitânia?
uma porção de bônus.
You have lots of
Ela é a
bonuses.
líder,
She's the
nave
leader.
capitânia
Valdo,
da esquadrilha, não é da
Valdo,
fumaça, não.
aqui no
Sim.
B. Aqui no B.
Valdo, letter B, please.
Aqui na página 37,
On page
antagonismologia.
37,
Você pode falar um pouquinho sobre esse?
antagonismology.
O antagonismo, bônus parapsíquico, privilégio.
The
O problema é o
privileged
seguinte,
parapsychic
o bônus
bonus.
parapsíquico é uma coisa natural,
Parapsychic
cosmoética,
bonus is something natural, cosmoethical, priority, and evolutionary
Agora,
in a
privilégio
high level
significa,
basis.
no caso,
And the
boa
privilege
vida,
means a
ilicitude,
good life, something illicit,
criminalidade,
criminology,
erro, omissão,
mistakes,
desvio,
omission,
engano. É
deviation,
outra coisa diferente.
error.
Então, o
It's
bônus que
totally
nós estamos falando
different.
aqui é o mérito
So what we're
mesmo
talking
real.
about here
E
is the
extrafisicamente é
real
isso que
merit.
uma pessoa, por
That's
exemplo,
what
o bônus é que ela
calls.
chega nas comunex mais avançadas.
When
Por
you
exemplo,
enter the
todo
most
mundo aqui
advanced
recebeu
extraphysical
bônus. Qual foi o bônus que
communities,
você recebeu?
everybody here has received a bonus, you know?
Até
And
hoje,
what is
aqui.
this?
Ele riu,
The
não falou
intermissive
nada, mas
course,
riu.
you see? Everybody knows.
O Flávio,
Even Flavio, he didn't say a thing, but he laughed because he knew right away. This was a basic bonus you have received.
Não fique
But
lambendo a
don't
cria ou usando os seus
spend
capitais
time
defensivos sem fazer nada.
using your intermissive course capitals, your resources
Bônus.
with
São esses que nós estamos querendo que vocês
with
façam. Cadê o
useless
artigo? Cadê o
things.
verbete? Cadê
Where
o
are
livro?
your
Isso
articles,
aí é bônus.
your book?
Nós estamos
This
esperando.
is bonus we are waiting
Quer
for.
falar alguma coisa?
Would you like to
Eu
talk?
queria voltar, sabe em quê? Naquele banho de energia.
I would like to talk
Eu
about
fiquei
that
pensando assim, ó, o amparador nunca faz
energetic
uma atividade
bath,
com objetivo
energetic
só.
shower,
Então, quando ele
because
dá um banho de
the
energia,
helpers
confirmando alguma
always
coisa
do
que
things
você
on a
fez,
purpose.
Já é,
Yes, the
vamos dizer, a
energetic,
cereja
the
do
energetic
bolo.
shower is already
Entendeu? Porque já viu a
the
pessoa,
cherry on
quem
top,
é, como é que é,
because the
já
helper
conhece a
has already
peça,
seen the
já viu a
person,
estrutura,
already knows how the person
olha o
works,
é o
the
arcabouço
structure,
possível das possibilidades,
context,
potenciais da pessoa, já conhece tudo.
talents of
Aí
the
ele fala,
person.
"Não,
The helper
ainda não
knows
dá
it
pra
all,
acessar."
and
Então ele começa
they
a
may
dar
say,
banho de
no, it's
energia.
not the time yet, let's get started with an energetic shower. After the fifth shower, just the fifth, the person will feel
Não, a minha
a
pergunta
shiver coming along.
continuando isso.
But
assim, ó,
yes,
às
Valdo,
vezes
but
você
my
já
question
falou,
is the following.
Várias vezes aqui,
Ah.
e eu tenho experiência também algumas vezes.
I have some
quando você faz uma
experience,
coisa,
and
recebe aquele banho
for
de
example,
energia
when
pra
you do
confirmar
something
aquilo.
and you receive
Mas
this
aí,
energetic shower to
diante disso que
confirm
você tá
what
falando
you're doing,
agora,
but
aquilo ali
according
também
to what
é
you
pra
say,
abrir espaço pra coisas mais
it's
avançadas,
also to
né?
make room for more
Isso que
advanced
ficou-
Uma
things.
coisa que é impressionante.
Então,
Yes,
o banho de
but
energia é um
A hora que a
passo,
pessoa
na
fica
verdade.
fraquejada,
when the
veterana,
person
mais experiente,
gets more
madura com o
experience,
processo,
gets more
o que que
mature,
acontece? ela dá dinheiro para a pessoa, na outra semana ela
The
recebe o
person
dobro daquilo.
gives money, a sum of
Eu
money
mostrei
to a
isso pra
person.
turma do Instituto,
The
tinha
next
gente que
week, the
ria na
person
minha frente.
receives
Não,
double.
você é ingênuo, Waldo, você é besteira.
And many people
Nós
have
estamos
already
vivendo
told
no
me,
capitalismo.
Valdo, you are
Assim,
just
o capitalismo
naive.
selvagem, eu tô falando. Eu não vivo
We
no-
live in the capitalism. Yes, you mean the wild capitalism. I don't live in this one. My capitalism is different from yours. But now, there have been facts. People from the Institute of Parapsychology and Conscientiality who have seen that. For example, we used to donate things or to perform assistance, even through the Institute. And in terms of the sum, the amount of money, the next week would come in the double of the amount we have donated. So you have to see the experience when the person is seasoned, experimented. So no way out of it. So now the energetic shower will not conclude what you're doing. No, it's just a preparation. The execution will come right after that, because with the energetic shower, it's the key to unlock the door, the communication door. Otherwise, there will be no access, because you see, the Homo sapiens is
Então, assim, quando você tem
silly. What
você
can we
cai
do?
em si de
But for
fenômeno
example,
qualquer,
when
O homem moderno, homo sapiens sapiens, quer dizer, homo
You see,
sapo sapo.
the Homo sapiens
Vê
sapiens
se eu tô assim, ó,
has
se você,
problems. But Valdo, see, for example, there is a phenomenon, and then you have an energetic shower to confirm that. So
Tempo esse banho de energia, às vezes,
this
fica
energetic
acontecendo
shower
opinião sinalética da
is
pessoa.
maybe the first
Aquilo fica de uma
sign of the
característica que não
person,
tem mais
and
erro.
it will be a characteristic showing that the person is not committing a mistake. So the person already knows what's going on, because the person may have had many examples before, and it accumulates. There's no way out of it. So we are just giving an overview on this subject. Valdo,
Pode perguntar logo?
can I ask?
Então, eu queria entender uma coisa.
I would like to understand one thing. I have been writing about extrapolationism when it comes at the end of a cycle, and it characterizes this bonus being given, and it really illustrates this entry into a new realm. Yes, just but before you continuing, the evolutionary added value, then the parapsychic added value. There are two added values. That's what you're talking about. One is different from the other. I have already put that on purpose.
Sim, tá, mas então eu tô falando.
Okay, but the parapsychic helps the person, but the evolutionary is the general one, because sometimes a person needs a different thing
Tá, e vamos falar então
to go towards parapsychism. Okay, so let's talk about the parapsychic one.
Mudança de patamar evolutivo.
That doesn't necessarily imply into evolution.
Na hora aquilo não.
For example, I felt something and it was a big stuff. I didn't know what it was, but it was so explicit. It was a mega extrapolationism. At the end of a cycle, it was a bonus. Yes, I was able to go through a bottleneck. Let's. Yes,
Como valor agregado para
you went through this bottleneck. So let's say that it's a parapsychic added value. So I was describing, writing about that, and then on the focus, under the focus of extrapolationism. And here you are approaching the subject via the bonus, not the extrapolation, but the result of it. Do you think that it's the best approach? Because I wasn't able to find, to come to a name. Yes, because it's the medal you receive.
É melhor do que extrapolação final desse
So it's better than final extrapolationism. Yeah, the bonus is more adequate.
Tá bom, professor.
Valdo,
Posso fazer uma pergunta?
may I ask?
Aonde que tá?
Where are you?
Sobre o OFX
Here.
pessoal, diz aqui o bônus de 2
Concerning
décadas
the
de
personal
interassistentialidade
extraphysical
na
clinic.
TENEPS diária.
it
Como se
will
chegou
come
a
as
essa
a
conclusão
bonus
de 2
of
décadas,
the
professor?
2 decades of practice. How did you come to this
Hoje nós somos
conclusion?
milhares.
Through
Outra coisa,
the
internet
thousands
a
and thousands of
sempre
people who have been
usou,
practicing
mas
Penta.
uma minoria super diminuta
So
de gente mais desperta, mais
there is
entende?
this
Mas sempre se usou. Gente mais
minority
vamos
of
dizer, que
people
acordou
practicing
antes da
Penta,
hora, se
people
despertou.
who have
Entende? Sempre teve.
awakened
Quase sempre
before,
era evoluciólogo.
and most of
Agora,
them were
Serenão sempre usou essas
evolutionists,
coisas.
but the Serenissimuses
Serenão,
have
às vezes,
always
chega num
put
ponto que não precisa mais nem de
these
opiar.
things into practice.
Ele
They
é
are
o que
able
é.
to reach
Agora
a
aqui,
point where they don't
estou em
need any
abstinência
extraphysical
sexual
clinic.
por
They are the
indicação
extraphysical
médica há
clinic.
2 meses.
Now a
É um homem
question.
que tá falando.
Now it's a
Devido ao
man.
nascimento de minha filha. Eu tenho que falar
Due
que é homem,
to
porque
the
senão
birth of my child, I
parecendo
had
que
to
é mulher,
stop
que é de
practicing
abstinência,
sex. I
não é
have to say it's a man
faz
because
tenepse há
it
8
makes a
meses e vem
difference.
acontecendo
I
algo
have
curioso.
been doing Penta
No
for
final
8
da
months and
tenepse,
there's
eu
something
adormeço.
curious.
Quando
At
isso
the end of the
acontece, tem
Penta,
sensação
I fall
vívida
asleep
de estar
and I
fazendo
feel
sexo.
like I am
Parece bem mais real e
doing
com sensações
sex.
bem mais
It's
reais.
more real and with more real sensations than in the intraphysical. When I come back, I feel that it could be a needy extraphysical consciousness that could be sucking me up. So I really want to know what's going on. Could you elaborate on that? Could you help me out and maybe give some examples? Yes, the problem is the following here. In my life, I have seen just one person that used to practice assistance through sex. She used to live in the neighborhood of Botafogo because it's very difficult due to the incubus and succubus. In your case, what I indicate is that to see if you come out of this experience of yours in peace or with this energetic hangover. We have to see if it's a process of yours or something else. In men, it's much easier to have that than women due to the erection process. The man has this physiological erection. Everyone who's healthy has that. It's part of the service. Now, just one silly question. Does it happen when you wake up, for example, 5, 6, 7 a.m.? If it is, it could be your physiological erection. Yes, we have to see this case, the details. He's not talking about the time he practices Penta. Now, I was in an event paying close attention to what was being said, and I was able to notice the extraphysical dimension. Is it this coincidence of the vehicles or not? No, I don't think so. It's just this clairvoyance. Write it down and let's see what happens, because it's just the beginning of the process. If I concentrate here, in a second I will notice this extraphysical dimension or this energetic dimension, which is the dimension that comes right after this one here. That's where we see the holothosene, the person's auras, and so on and so forth. Could you comment on? I can't say anything here, but because there are people here involved. Now, could you talk about antonymology, page 36, topic 1, parapsychic loss? Let's see it here. Parapsychic loss and en route parapsychic accident. The parapsychic loss is exactly the antonym of the bonus. For example, if you are doing illegal things, the intruder comes in and takes you over. So that's what happens. Professor, you say that there are two realities in the universe, consciousness and the energy. For the consciousness, there is the consciential therapy, and for the energy, do you agree on the creation of energotherapy? Yes, of course. We talk about energotherapy all the time here. I mean, all the parapsychic dynamics and so on, you are dealing with the energies and also in the consciential therapy. So it's a consequence. Professor in infectology, in the second line, you talk about the onus of the parapsychic bonus as being the responsibility deriving from the interassistential retribution. And so this parapsychic bonus helps clarify interassistentiality leading to parapsychism. We cannot forget anything of that. First, discernment. Second, intention. With the intention, the person will see the priority he has. Then the person will assist others. The person will be able to think about the others. Then there is assistance. In assistance, the person will see with the course of time that the most serious thing is parapsychism. The person will leave behind the consolation task and get into the clarification task. It demands parapsychism because it's multidimensional. And to get to the parapsychism, the person will understand that they had to work with the consciential energies. With the consciential energies the person has, vibrational state, voltaic arc, megaphorization, projection. The person deals with energy and will have a discoincidence of the vehicles, which will lead to a projection. Just in this case, there are 10 different steps to achieve what we're talking about. So it's the virtuous cycle of the evolution. But see, everything we talk about is good and we deal in depth with the details. We are talking about this reality. We are telling everybody about that. The evolution of the thinking. Yes, we have to think about that, about these people. That's why I tell them to do this reflection of 5 hours. Yes, if you do that, for example, this 5-hour reflection, the person has to write in this font 26 all the names and have to fix ahead of the person to see what's going on. You know that I have already done that, and I gave that to the person in my apartment on Visconde de Pirajá Street in Rio. I have already done that, and on top of it I wrote so that Mr. John Doe can achieve wisdom. And I also had this wisdom process, which was a list I had close to this steel locker, and I used to write that in big capital letters so everybody could read that. It is in maturity and wisdom. Yes, because when in doubt, help. Always opt for helping. So in my office, I was dealing with people, assisting people, and I started writing in many languages because it was a parapsychic uterus, parapsychic womb, and it was difficult to explain what it was, this parapsychic womb. It's just a summary of what we have been talking about, the 10 steps I've just told you about. Who else has the microphone? You can go on. I'm ready to battle, to fight for the ideas. We had 30 questions coming from the teletertulians.
Valdo,
Valdo,
então eu queria perguntar mais.
I would like to ask more.
Saber mais
I would like to learn more
essa
from you on
extrapolação com o bônus,
this extrapolation bonus
né? Às vezes eu fico até
binomial,
angustiado, né?
because sometimes I'm also
Porque eu já passei por algumas coisas.
Escuta uma coisa.
feeling bad because
Você recebeu
Look.
o seu primeiro bônus.
you have already
Pode ser
received
que
your
o seu
first
primeiro extrapolação.
bonus. It may have been your first extrapolation. The second bonus will be the second extrapolation. The third bonus will be the third extrapolation. And it will go increasing in the value, in the competence, and the assistance you practice. There is that person who asks me, what's the value of this phenomenon? It depends on your interassistentiality. Do you help more, with more intensity, with this or not? It depends. For example, the real value of a paraphenomenon is the level of interassistentiality. Think deeply about it and you will see the logics. Yes, I agree, Valdo, but you can get to an extent that you will feel something that is more obvious, that will characterize a bonus, because there are extrapolations that are operational.
Falando disso não.
Pode ter 1000 tipos
There may be 1,000 types, different types of extrapolationisms.
Você pode receber
Bonuses also, you may receive 1,000 different kinds of bonuses, but the extrapolation in itself is not a bonus, right? Because you can go in a crescendo till you get the bonus. Yes, but sometimes a person needs to have an extrapolation to fix, because everything is wrong, is disorganized, so the person has this extrapolation to enhance the person's condition. Otherwise, the person will not work correctly. Yes, my case was that. That's why I was writing, and also the entry I was trying to publish, to present here. But in fact, it is something, this extrapolation will trigger something that will come right after. Yes, but you cannot just skip. There is a real bonus and a real extrapolation. The person has to see by himself. Usually, it has to be recognized individually. The person has to feel that to increase his responsibility. The helpers do that on purpose. Yes, depending on the level of performance you have, it happens right after the extrapolation, so you can classify it. Yes, but I would like to ask you a thing. Please, try to find that movie, A Onda, The Wave.
Já passou, assim.
Já passou, pois é.
Na época acho que foi alguém daqui que emprestou.
Yes,
exemplar do
Não,
filme.
Lorela escreveu sobre
we need,
Quero o filme para ver.
Não, a gente tem cópia do filme.
we need a copy of that movie.
Válida, né? Eu não sei, não estou me lembrando quem.
The original copy, of course, we have that. I think you gave that to me. Who gave that to me?
Olha quem é que vai me dar o bônus do
You see, I will receive here a bonus, the bonus of the film, of the movie.
É, foi você mesmo que me deu, foi de vocês mesmo.
Who gave it to me? You, so can you give that to me again? Okay. Yeah, you see, so I have been given my bonus.
Fazer uma pergunta aqui, professor, com relação a esse
Professor,
na página
a
38,
question on
amparo
page
extrafísico de
38.
função.
Task-based
Por exemplo, o professor Mário está
extraphysical
curso lá em
help.
ergometria.
So
Quando ele está
Professor
ministrando
Mario
esse curso, ele
is giving a
tem
course
esse amparo
ergonometry.
extrafísico de função?
When he's giving this course, does he have his task-based help?
aquele trabalho que
This
uma pessoa
task-based
tem, por exemplo,
help
o governador,
is the one
o
that
diretor,
the governor has,
o presidente
the
da
city
República.
councilor has, the
Eles têm uma
president
tarefa
has.
de função.
All of them have this
O
task,
problema é que a maioria deles não
specific
sabe,
task-based
nem
extraphysical
liga
help.
pra
But the
isso, nem dá
thing
valor
is
pra
that
isso,
most
tem
of them
raiva de quem
don't
pensa
even
nisso.
know they
Então, é um
are
problemão.
being helped.
Eles
So
não
it's a big
recebem.
problem. So they don't receive big contributions because they are ill-intentioned, they are doing illegal things and so on. But from our point of view, everyone who has been practicing the glorification task has a task-specific, task-based help. Something that happened in the Institute of International Institute of Projectiology and Conscientiology back then, the teacher used to travel and to become an itinerant teacher. When the person was, for example, teaching in an isolated city, the person could feel this task-based helper. And when they came back, they used to say, I want to keep this help and I don't want that to vanish. There are people who used to cry when talking to me, but it happened to many women and men alike. So the itinerant teaching is one of the things that show more clearly what the task-based help, extraphysical help is. Because the person has no one else to help, just the helper, the extraphysical helper. The person is all alone, but with the helper. For example, a city that the person had never been to, and an isolated city, and it's impressive. But see, I had to explain all that very carefully, but there have been people who started overcoming the situation. Now, according to the month, we used to study. This month, who did more? Who had more credits? The credits were counted according to the number of students who used to sign up for that teacher's courses. There was this teacher who was in a capital. He stayed there for 10 days. He assisted so many people that at the end, back then, he brought 10,000 reais, the Brazilian currency, of extra courses, extra things that were sold, something that was done there, and he brought that sum of money to the Institute. And there was also that person who said, I want to be the best, I want to see what I can do. So every month the person was working as an itinerant teacher. So many people really developed themselves, and most of them were from the existential inversion groups and so on. They all matured with the course of time. So do you understand what is this task-based help? Professor, now this itinerant teaching, is it only for those who teach conscientiology or for any professor? Oh, it depends, because when they work with Bellicism, they will have intrusion. For example, if you are teaching how to make a bomb, of course, it depends. You have to see your cosmoethic. No, not this. No, not this, Professor. No, for example, or just like the American movies, how to take in cocaine. No. I mean sciences. When you teach sciences, Rosa, for example, teaches mathematics. Yeah, task-based helper. No, I'll give you just a basic example. Those guys from Band, the Bandeirantes channel, Brazilian channel, who surveyed into the crackle land in São Paulo, the crack, that drug in São Paulo, they surveyed that whole condition. So they showed a summary after several episodes. They showed a summary last night, and just think of what happened. So you see, it's impressive how São Paulo allows such a thing. And you know that this a specific crackle land has been there for 20 years. So there is no one from the very beginning, from 20 years ago. They are calling them zombies. But the schools right close, have already closed, have already shut down, and it's right downtown. Of course, when they survey such things, they have lots of help. It's one of the worst things in São Paulo, but we have to tell people from São Paulo, what are they waiting for? The governor, the city councilors, all of them should go there and visit Cracolandia. The Cracoland is a specific area of São Paulo downtown which has been taken over by drug users of crack. Crack is one of the worst drugs ever. So it's one of the most impressive things I have seen in Brazil in the last years, and it was showed this week. And there is no police, there is no school, there is nothing there. Where is the education? Where is the Ministry of Education of this country? Where is the state education? São Paulo state, the state with more money in the country. It's a shame. And I said, thankfully, there is no foreigner watching this movie or this episode with me, because I wouldn't know where to hide myself, because it's a shame. But the ideal would be for some of us to call them in order to turn that into a movie. Maybe it could become a documentary. Somebody here who's from communications, we could maybe turn that into a movie to show the reality. There will be people who will, there are people who will throw up with this movie because it's very brutal. Professor, in Cracolândia, I have seen something in the Global News channel. Yeah, but that one is very weak. This Bandeirantes series is the biggest ever. And last night they showed just a summary, and it is a shame. Yes, there is interlocution. They talk to the users there. It's just, it's crazy, and the analysis that is carried out, it goes far and beyond all the psychology that's out there. And they could just also shoot that, because you don't even have to say anything. But now a question. What does the parapsychic bonus mean to the existential program? No, you have to see, because, for example, the intrusion. You cannot just identify the intrusion and kiss him goodbye. You have to assist. You have to see what's going on. You have to see what's going on. Because there are two mistakes. What can we do? It would be good to come here so that we can do something. To people that with two problems, and that's it.
Tá no banheiro. What's the objective of the umbilical chakra in the assistance? Well, it helps mainly when you want to deblock the umbilical chakra of other people. Most of the times, 80% of people have umbilical chakra blockage. What do you have to say about people that are able to exteriorize energies through this chakra? Well, it depends. We should examine, because it's not just like that. You said that when we die, we carry our essence with ourselves if we have essence, because many don't have that. Could you elaborate on that? Well, we have what we have done in our lives. There are people that have been to this life and they haven't done anything. They will come back to the baratron sphere. Even worse sometimes, because there may be the extraphysical melancholy. So that's what we call the essence. Many of them don't have this essence. Those who kill people, and that guy that killed the woman, very natural and doesn't talk about that. These people that kill others and don't mind, don't care, and don't feel guilty about that, no regret. These have nothing. These have no essence. They are worse than vegetables. Answering to what was open in the last question, my penta is from 6 to 6:50 in the morning. Yeah. So, wasn't I right? Wasn't I right? Yeah, many questions. I lost the will to eat meat and I chose to be vegan. Associated to that, I've chosen to study religion. I have an amplification of my paraperceptions. However, I have some difficulties. And I thought about going back to meat diet in order to help more in the extraphysical dimensions. Another question, how can I know when I'm receiving the bonus? First, when you stopped eating meat, you didn't compensate your diet. Your immunology fell down and you started having problems, health problems. This is very serious. You need to look for a dietologist for her to study what you need. And this person should help you and do a series of exams, a set of exams. Blood, urine, type, everything. So, about the bonus you receive when you have you can amplify the quality, the extension, and as time goes by, you can find a helper. This could be a positive bonus, a definite bonus for the rest of your life. And you're going to teleguidance. Well, regarding the Pandero, the extraphysical community, we had done a process in the Maximanism. So I don't know what to do now. And I was just a mini cog in that time, in the Pandero. But the problem is the following. You being a mini cog, doing what you should do, and what the mechanism tries to supply the assistance to you. This is what matters. Professor, regarding this question, in taxology, you talk about the aggregated common acts and the collective interlude bonus. You talk about this advanced community, and would it be a bonus itself? Well, to reach this condition is not easy. To be in baratmosphere or poor communities is very easy. Nobody needs advantages or potentials. But advanced extraphysical communities demand quality of the evolutionary file. Would it be a bonus in the region? No, not everybody has that. I can see what's near me. There are many things in this sense. There is no mapping of extraphysical community. So in this case, Waldo, is this a specific case in the intraphysical evolution regarding the creation of interludio? Well, it's much more specialized than the resummation. When I compare everything to Pandero, that was the job we used to do in the past, this work now is very unique. For example, Asunción never had extraphysical centers connected to it. Well, regarding the extraphysical community and the area, what do you analyze? Well, it's the work of interassistance and cosmoethics. If there is cosmoethics, it maintains the extraphysical community and expands everything. It's all based on cosmoethics, interassistance, and it all depends on the interassistential mechanism. Everything else is secondary. So we need paratechnology. The processes are clear. We don't need to push. So does interludio have the 3 extraphysical centrals, Waldo? Well, I don't know. I am very busy with other things here. Nobody's talked about that to me. But they were developing the parapsychoteca
Agora, outra coisa séria que eu quero dizer
and
para
other serious things.
muitas coisas de vocês vão
I would like to
ficar
tell you,
registradas.
many things will be recorded about you.
Vocês olham bem a vida de vocês.
So,
Olha bem
check
aquela
your
qualquer
lives.
posição que eu esteja.
Remember, in any position I am, I can have my buds shown.
Vocês vão
So be
ficar-
careful.
E não adianta tatear. Você já pensou?
And you
Lost
can't
vai
hide.
jogar e começa
Just
a ter
imagine,
tudo satisfeito,
Lush goes
aí
there,
vai uma patada,
and
qualquer
all of a sudden
Foi isso que
he
eu
speaks
Tem um registro seu aqui.
some
Tem umas fotos
silly
suas.
things, and they say, oh, we've seen some movies, we've seen some pictures of yours. It's not what you said.
Tem alguma gradação?
Is there any order of installation of extraphysical centers, or it depends on the method seen? The order is the functionality. Within this process I'm talking about, interassistentiality with cosmoethics of the interassistential mechanism. Each place is different. Nothing is the same.
A interlúdio não tem assim.
Interlude, for example, they don't have the mojo of Pombal, the same holocene of Pombal.
Não, não é. É porque o Pombal é antigo.
Because Pombal is very old.
Cidade do Flash Gordon.
It was like Flash Gordon City.
Tem outra coisa, tem um charme artístico.
There is a charm,
Você está entendendo?
you know?
Então muita gente chega lá e baba.
So
né?
many
O
people
para-baba.
arrive there
Tem que
and
levar um para-babador.
they
Entende? A pessoa segurar. Mas isso é relativo.
they get
Com o
astonished.
tempo a gente não sabe o que é que pode ter. Né?
But with time,
A
with
situação é essa.
as time passes by, we don't know what we can develop.
Muito embora a maioria que vai lá já consegue isso.
Most of people who go there can volitate, but they can't force people.
Como processo de
And Pombal was made with kind of
lá foi
a
feito.
defense, like a prophylaxia,
Mas agora, em compensação, aqui o nível intelectual.
to compensate.
Lá é muito
Here
diferente.
in Interludio,
Aqui já é
the intellectual level is much higher. In Pombal, the paramedicine
Então, por
was
exemplo, tem
higher,
mais, né?
like
Tem muita
nursery.
coisa. Chega no quarto doente e coloca
In
a foto
nursing,
da fazenda, que
you
tá com
arrive
saudade, então põe a foto da
in the
fazenda na
room and the
parede. Então,
patient
são coisas.
has the picture of the farm, you make an environment,
Traz umas flores que é da
you
casa
bring
dele, do
flowers
jardim, ó. Foi colhida hoje,
from
você
their
vai plantar aqui e
gardens.
tal. Muito embora não pode deixar muito tempo, porque flor dentro de quarto não faz bem para a pessoa.
However, you should not leave the flowers inside the room, but you do it what you can.
E receber a parapsicoteca no lugar como o interlúdio.
How the extraphysical community receives the parapsychotech?
Curso intensivo,
Well, it deals with the intermissive course because it's cosmovisiological, it's panoramic, it's broadening, generalist.
ele tem tudo.
It's like a wholesale.
Mexe com o processo do cosmos.
It has everything, and it deals with the cosmos and the lives of consciousnesses. So it needs to have everything.
Mais trabalho para a pessoa que
And Assunção is a community for those who resonate.
no nosso lá o Pombal,
In
era também isso.
Pombal,
mas
it was not only this, but also as if
para o povo
they had a spa.
fazer recolhimento,
They
diminuir
could
a pessoa que está
rest to recover
algum trauma.
from some trauma or tragedy.
Como é que chama isso, medicina? Tem um nome.
How do they call this in medicine? Recovery period.
Então isso tudo tem a situação,
So this is what happened there.
de caso para caso.
It varies from case to
Pode
case.
falar mais como é o processo exatamente disso?
But-
Como isso vai sendo preparado?
How is it developed? Well, there are consciousnesses who are specialists and they can deal with that, like Veronesa, who was specialized in parasubstance, and they create the
O
environment.
problema é que aonde fica, de que modo que
But
é
the
feita,
problem is how to
O senhor falou agora que
how to locate.
o Pombal era mais charmoso. Do ponto de vista
Professor, you
mental,
said Pombal was charming.
do ponto,
Yeah, because people got astonished
não,
there.
que eu queria pensar assim,
Yeah, but I would like to know the statics.
entendi.
eles iam gostar mais.
Então, do ponto, se eu fosse considerar,
If I could
se eu fosse considerar
take
a parte
into account the
estética, aí a parte
parastatics,
estética vai depender dos parâmetros
it
que eu vou-
depends
eu vou
on the
adotar para medir,
parameters
né?
I will adopt
Porque aí a
to
interlúdio
measure,
vai ter
right?
tipo de estética
Because
e
Interludio
Pombal é
has one type of statics and Pombal has another type of statics, right?
Interlúdio está criando dela.
Well, Pombal has already got its statics. The Interludio is creating it, okay? When you said about nursery and paramedicine, what were you talking
Você
about?
falou lá é para
You
enfermagem.
said
Aqui
paranursing
paramedicina.
and
Quais as
paramedicine.
comunidades que eu
Which
peguei?
communities are you talking about?
Lá onde?
Que estão assim, depois de um trauma, estão em
Well,
convalescência,
the nursing I was
estão
talking
na fase
about
de
was for
recuperação,
those
no
people
spa.
who
Então,
have been to a
processo
trauma
muito assim,
and need to
vamos dizer,
rest,
de
to recover,
restauração consciente.
like a restoration,
Agora aqui não.
consciential restoration.
Evolução.
And here is a matter of consciential evolution.
Aqui é medicina.
Comparando com interlúdio.
Comparing to
Pombal e
Interludio,
Interlúdio,
Pombal and Interludio, is that what you're talking about?
Tudo é assim. O Pombal, por exemplo,
Yeah,
era
Pombal,
muito
for
mais
example,
restauração.
was more restoration.
Agora, um monte de gente.
Lots of people.
É o jeito, é o trabalho.
That's the way. They're objective.
Pensa bem que você vai ver a diferença. Agora,
Think
interlúdio
about that
é
and you'll
mais
see the
assim,
difference.
como se fosse um
But
vidro,
Interludio is like a campus.
super universitário.
like a super university, a huge one.
Isso que eles vão construir. Ainda não é
This is
tudo,
what
assim,
they
não.
intend to build. They're just designing things,
Varia, depende, demora.
and it takes long.
Mas interlúdio, ele é, vamos dizer,
But
ele tem uma
interlude
variedade de
has
coisas bem
a
maior
greater
do que o
variety, right, Waldo?
Tendência é
Você falou
Well,
que lá
this is
pode
the
haver também,
tendence.
não haver volitação,
And
dependendo
there may not be volitation
depende do que a
also.
pessoa quer, tem que ter de tudo.
Well, depends on what you want.
Não é uma coisa só.
It's cosmovisiological community. It's not a single thing, you know.
Aqui, Adélio. O senhor comentou que muitas de nossas coisas vão ficar registradas
You said that
lá
many
no
things
interlúdio.
related to our lives are be recorded in interlude. Yes, there are people coming here, and if they get in touch with us, they can record everything, and we will appear there in the future. Just imagine, Roberto must be fixed there. Yeah, there was this guy that worked with dictionaries. He was mad about that. He works with internet. He was a very quiet guy, but he's very good, makes assistance. He's a doctor,
E aparece a cara.
and his face appears there.
Tudo isso é possível, está lá. Gente,
Everything is
pensa bem,
recorded
quando
there.
vocês vão fazer
Think about this.
qualquer coisa,
When you make a
tudo isso vai
file,
ser feito.
okay, can't you do
Agora, pensa
this,
bem lá, o que
all of this? Just imagine what they
Só o que
are
interessa.
able to do.
Agora, eu desejaria que todos
I
vocês
wish
aparecessem
you
para eu examinar
to
bem
appear
daqueles
there so I could check it out.
O que é que teve?
What happened to you?
Poderia,
Escanear tudo.
They
isso
can
poderia ser tipo
scan
estudo de
everything.
caso. Poderia-
Could
poderia
they
estar
make
E, ó,
case
tem que ver
studies? Yeah, but this is small
Não é
talk.
estudo de caso, é estudo
It
da
study of the multitude, the humankind, the populations, the demography, whatever.
Põe coisa nisso.
You can add things, okay? Add
É aquilo que
cases.
a gente chama de paracasuística,
That's what we call para cases.
coisa mais séria.
It's much more serious.
Lá eles teriam acesso às
Would they have
retropersonalidades
access to
consecutivas
their
desse povo para poder
consecutive
fazer estudos? Isso é possível?
retro-personalities to make this comparison? Do you think that's possible?
Ainda não.
Yes, but by now it's too early to tell.
Agora, a pessoa vai tirando as ilações por elas mesmas.
But you can come to your conclusions by yourself. You have
Porque eles poderiam ter uma visão panorâmica
your own conclusions, your opinions,
muito recente.
Até de ouro tem
but
sempre.
everything is very accurate.
Agora, o que eu
in terms
quero é o
of
seguinte, eu pedi
Holocene.
pra eles, vamos trabalhar, né, gente?
And I ask them to work a lot, and I thank them very much for this to be the most
Agora, essa parte
the strongest campus for the intermissive course, because when everything gets better there, things get better here.
essa parte da parapsicoteca
It's a
é o
repercussion.
AIEC que tá mais mexendo com isso,
And Isaac dealing with this parapsychoteca?
tem mais
Well, there are other people. There are evolutionologists,
Pouco de vez em quando escorrega, espirra por aqui.
those people that come here, show up, like Hercules.
Isso tudo é por causa do trabalho de lá.
This is due to their work
Já
there.
é uma espécie de consequência.
It's kind of a consequence, let's say a bonus.
Dividendo o assunto. É consequência do processo, efeito.
It's an effect, a para effect of the
Então a
process.
gente podia dizer que essa questão
So
do
can we
Hércules
say that
talvez seja
Hercules is a matter of
Ele
bonus?
chegar aqui e trabalhar até um certo
Well,
ponto foi porque
him being able to come here and work with us and involving everybody. If we were talking about other contacts, scenario, maybe he wouldn't have the chance to come here, even if he wanted.
E outra coisa, o negócio ficou tão óbvio.
And everything was so obvious, and I talked about him, even without knowing what was going on.
mais dele. Assim, que eu
And what
acho
have
que
you
você
seen
fez uma
regarding
questão de ser
him?
direito, né?
I heard you
Ele
didn't
disse,
know
"Eu
him
conheço
well,
você muito bem."
and he said that he knew
Eu
you.
do lado de lá, eu fazia
Well,
isso,
I was on the other side, and I used to do that, and they are coming, they're jumping everything. on me. So have you met him recently? No, he's been working a lot, he's been helping people, so I don't know what he's doing. And I am very busy by my side. I am very happy because the last one I saw was Monja, and I started working more. It was taking so long for me to finish this certain work, and I have just made it. It's great. So can we have this hypothesis that Hercules was or is an evolutionary entrepreneur? Well, he has a great file. He had en route accident in his life, and this must have impacted his life, his file, and we know what happened between this life and intermissive period, but he's okay in terms of energies. He's fine. In terms of mobilization of energies, he's good. And him being able to show now, does it have any relation to this en route accident? Yes, because he has already overcome this. He passed through the bottleneck. He had so many plans he wasn't able to carry out. And one more question. In terms of group karma, it's very interesting. I mean, his group karma. Yeah, he's related to these people that came from Italy. It's not only Veronese. There are other people, other extraphysical consciousnesses. Remember Anna, that lady that died in my bed? She had this illness, like a big part here in her neck, and then I saw her receiving a body, extraphysically speaking, and me and Talmal saw that she had been a countess. And in this life she was black, and she didn't even use sandals. She was a great cook, and she has this illness, and she was supposed to die early. When I saw her for the first time, I told her, "You don't have too much time to live." Her heart was enormous, was huge, and she was very sick, and she was able to talk about that. But at her age, I tried to help everything I could, but she wasn't able to leave me due to her past. She just heard things and didn't know what was working. You know, she said, "I want to be close to you. I can't live this anymore. It's for the rest of my life." So we treated her dog, we treated her son, everything else. And after she decimated, during this afternoon, they told me, "Go to bed and lie down, and you will see something." So I left my body, and they were receiving her. They were welcoming her in the extraphysical dimension, and she hadn't studied anything. She was illiterate, you see? And Chico used to like her a lot. But she had this attachment with me. She couldn't understand. I took care of her child. There was this dog called Brinquinho. We took care of them. She was an Italian countess. I was suspicious about that, but I was not sure. But when I had that and I talked to my mother and Chico Xavier, everybody started crying due to her personality. And she used to cook. Her food was delicious. We were all mad about that. And I saw this in my office, in my doctor's office. And she died in my house. She said, "I'm going to cook your food." No, not only mine, for everybody that lives with me. I want to die working with you. That's what she said. I don't want to go to my house. And that's what happened. Because she was in the end. She was very ill. And Chagas is a very difficult disease. She didn't have base down, nothing like this. But she had her wisdom. We call the saint the opposite of the saint, ignorance. She was very logical in her popular philosophy. Sometimes I used to call her and ask for her opinion in front of everybody. And she just hit the spot. And it was very popular, very a common talk. There were these ladies, very fancy ladies, and they came from São Paulo, and I asked Ana about that. See, Ana, what about this case? And she used to talk right on the spot, and everybody liked her. The ladies were surprised. But she wasn't used to wear sandals nor shoes. She loved to walk with her feet on the floor, barefoot. And she was dark, black, dark. Well, everything indicates that she chose to come in this situation, right, Waldo? Yes, she made lots of assistance within her possibilities until she died. Extraphysically speaking, she used to show that characteristics of the disease. Is this related to the same characteristics that Serenissimus show from previous lives? Yes, she didn't want to change because it's a matter of impacting people. She was a star. She was an extraphysical star. You should see the welcome party. She, in the condition of Condes, was not able to do some things. So she had to be born among the poor to be able to do these things. And an enumerator and Taumau talked to me about her case. And they said she was in the end of a probation, and she was great. She was huge. Do you think she can reach intrusion freeness in her next life? I think she'll have a specific work in her things. I don't know if it's gonna take place in Brazil or if it has already happened. I am talking about a case that happened 50 years ago. Maybe it has already happened, and I don't know. Maybe she has already gone back to Italy. And do you have any idea of what kind of work, Professor? Her work? Intensification of assistance. I think she will deal easily with penta practice, extraphysical clinic, intrusion freeness.
vamos dizer assim, uma plateia.
She has an extraphysical
Ela criou.
public, an extraphysical audience. I know that because of that commemoration, celebration they did to her. These kinds of celebration show the reality of the consciousnesses, and we are shocked by that.
Agora, eu vejo
It's
que
not
ela-
easy.
Então, por exemplo, não adianta não esse negócio da pessoa se transformar em
For example, it's useless to become a saint in this interphysical life. We need to see the file, the evolutionary file.
quem é que ia transformar?
Who would ever tell that she was a saint? And she's more of a saint
Esclarecimento.
due to the clarification,
A holomatunidade
the whole maturity she had, her level,
Essas questões de condessa,
and was she
como coisa positiva,
able to
né?
use these condensed things
Determinadas coisas tão
as a positive way. Yeah, and she helped everybody
ela não apresentava.
the much
Então,
she
ela
could,
fazia a verbação
and she was
sem esperar a
quiet,
parte final da verbação, ela não falava.
and she used to make the verb action only with the first part, but without showing the
Agora, eu falava,
final
quando eu
consequences.
chamava as pessoas que eu
I used to call people
eu falava assim, ó, vou
I
apresentar
trusted,
pra vocês,
and
assim,
I used to
não
introduce.
fique impressionado com a aparência dela.
And I
O que
used
você vai
to
verificar?
ask these people
Olha
not to be
a consciência que está aí dentro. Eu
surprised,
falava, o
not
espírito
to
encarnado que está aí.
think about her appearance. Just
As pessoas
check
ficam impressionadas
the spirit
pela situação dela.
that was
Alguns
behind that
traziam
body.
um presente para ela,
Some brought gifts to her.
olha, dava pros outros.
Sometimes the gift was so good that she gave to other people. If you gave her some very beautiful dress, she wouldn't wear. We knew that, and she would give that dress to other women.
Cada arranja modo de reagir.
Each person finds a way to react that works better and
modos que é, sob certo
gives
aspecto,
better
é
results.
aquilo que
She
a gente
found
chama
her
de
way
estilo.
to
Ela
work.
tinha um estilo
She had
pra
a
funcionar
style
pela assistência dela. Entende?
to work with her assistants, and it was outstanding.
Ô, gente, então nós estamos aqui chegando aqui no meu horário.
Now we're getting to the end of it. I would like to thank everyone.
Maior nova.
I would like to wish you a very good week. That's
Então, os nossos
starting now. Our commercial break now. Thank you. The records, 116 signatures on the Presence book, 27 presential questions, 23 online questions, 58 presential votes, and 10 online votes. Today, the messages come from Eliana and Liza, the Serenology Congress, João on the Direct Democracy Symposium, Alexandre on the Cognopolis Festival, William on the Re-Education Week, and Loshi on the Intermissivists Congress, before Fernando on the Friends program. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is we're going to raffle the book Onde a Religião Termina. The second prize will be a place in the Symposium of Direct Democracy, and the third is a Kindle, an Amazon tablet. We have here a list, an updated list of 378 friends of Encyclopedia. One of them, our new friend from Goiânia here, Jefferson, he's in the list. So now we're going to pick the raffle to see, and now the results we're going to announce. The book Onde a Religião Termina goes to Sônia Regina Almeida from Curitiba, the capital of the Borno State. The place in the International Symposium of Direct Democracy went to Maria do Carmo from Pirassununga, São Paulo. And the third prize, which is a Kindle, goes to Rodolfo Krauten Neto from Foz do Iguaçu. Rodolfo. He's not present here. Rodolfo Krautheim Neto was given this Kindle. We're going to get in touch. Good afternoon, tertulians, tertulians. Asimvex and RAC are doing the last call for the ninth International Congress on Existential Inversion and the Congress of Serenology, the event that will take place on June from 23 to the 26th in the state of Espírito Santo. We have the participation of researchers from CAEC, Discernimentum, OIC, the Friends of Encyclopedia, IIPC, IAC, and Asimvex and RAC. When you sign up for this course, you'll help materializing the Encyclopedia of Consciousness at the Serenarium laboratory that has been built in the Asimvex's campus in Foz do Iguaçu. For further information, you can write to cursus@asimvexis.org. In order to optimize the participation of more people, we have postponed the raffle for the next week, June 5, at the end of Tertulia. So to participate, you can come to the Tertulia or send an email to cursus, cursos@asimvexis.org. Good afternoon, you all. We would like to invite tertulians and teletertulians alike for the first International Symposium on Direct Democracy. I think it's important for the Cognopolis inhabitants to participate in this event. First of all, to reinforce the holocene of this political process and reach a healthier position before our current political situation in Brazil. It's the last week for the inscriptions, for the enrollments. I think it's worthwhile to qualify, to increase our political awareness. So we count on all of you who are interested in the maturation of the political process to participate in this event. It will take place in Discernimentum. It will be on Friday through Monday next week, and in the afternoon we will also have the Council of the 500 at the end. Now, those who have any connection with politics, parapolitics, or this topic, I think it's worthwhile signing up for this event. So we count on all of you who are interested in it. Thank you. Folks, we're here to invite those who are interested in organizing the second Winter Festival in Cognopolis that will take place in the last week of July. It will take a week. We're going to have many workshops, theater, design, comics. We're going to have this Cognopolists fair. We had one at the end of the last year. It was very interesting, and many other things that we're going to confirm later on. We're open to suggestions to enhance our festival, whose objective is to strengthen our coexistence and promote a better integration with the surrounding communities. You can have further information. Those who would like to participate in the organization, you could send an email to receptivo@discernimentum.org, and Marcos will invite you to something that has to do with it. Tonight there is a meeting, a musical meeting. It's more like a play for singing to celebrate, because we're not going to have the movie tonight. And if you cannot, you can just answer to the email. We have disseminated. You can just tell us what is your availability, so that we can maybe try to reach a consensus in terms of time. So there are also activities, there's table tennis activities, so that you can take the stress out of your shoulders, and we're waiting for all of you there. Good afternoon, folks. We're going to have this year in October the second re-education week, which coincides with the 10 years of conscientiological science event. Now you can see in your agenda the week from the 7th to the 16th of October. This week we have a holiday, which is the 12th, and then there will be many activities geared towards the conscientiology teachers, and also this Verpanology Congress, the Leading Edge Relative Truth Congresses. You can come participate in the week of re-education. The 10th and 11th of October, you can take part in many activities. On Wednesday, on the following day, there will be a course with Professor Marcelo da Luz, and then scientificity, and also the Congress on Verpanology. So it's an extraordinary week. Get organized to be here with us. Further information, contato at reaprendência.org, Reaprendência with T. Good afternoon, folks. We would like to invite you to the first International Congress of Intermissivists. This Congress will take place in Discernimentum from 22 to 24 July. We'll have many conferences and activities related to the intermissive course. Just to mention but a few, on the 22nd we're going to have a course with Professor Waldo on the intermissivists' conditions. We'll also have a teleconference during the event with Professor Wagner Alegrete, who will talk about retrocognition of the intermissive course. We'll also have a parapsychic workshop with Professor Mario Oliveira. Among the conferences, there will be the topic Existential Inversion and the Evolutionary Dual. Professor Alexandre Nonato and Viviane Ribeiro. We will also have Professor Malo Balona covering the foreigner syndrome, among other activities. Thus, it's worthwhile being here from the 22nd to 24th of July for this first Intermissivists Congress. And the entry for tomorrow will be the common friend. Subfield is coexistentiology. Thank you very much for your presence, and see you tomorrow.